thank you for coming in. I'm sorry to rob you from this like amazing day. We're having this picture perfect Nantucket spring day. So has it always felt like this is kind of where your heart's been?
Always.
There's a connection that you have with people that is so deep and intimate. I mean, you reported on 9/11, the marathon bombings. I mean, things that were so impactful for Bostonians.
Yeah.
That there's just this indelible connection. Do you miss being in that role?
I really don't. I miss the storytelling. I miss the public service. I miss, your wife Jenny does a lot of that. I miss working for Boston Medical Center, volunteering and using my platform to be able to advance important causes and give them a little bit of light. But in terms of the anchoring and the being on call 24/7. I don't miss that.
Was there a breaking point? Was there a moment that you said, you know what, this isn't right for me anymore. This isn't right for my family. I have to step back. And was there a particular instance that prompted that decision?
Oh, that's such a loaded question.
Oh, I don't mean to be loaded. I'm just more curious.
It's okay.
I know it's a tough thing to walk away from.
It was a very tough thing. I had a great 27-year career that I'm very proud of. But the industry had started changing and it became really toxic. I honestly felt for my health, if I stayed, I wouldn't live another 5 years.
Because it was so just...
It was toxic.
And so when you stepped away from that industry, this became kind of a refuge for you. Nantucket, I mean.
Very definitely.
Yeah.
But then sort of a cascade of events happened.
Right. And then also Nantucket being kind of the epicenter of what you were experiencing, you had to make it kind of conflicted emotions. You've got a place you love, but then also a source of turmoil.
Yeah. You're talking about the Kevin Spacey case.
Right.
Incredibly difficult. This was where I came to just blend in with the community. And that puts such an intense spotlight on me and my family in the place that had always been my haven. So, when that ended in July 2019, I kind of hid for a while.
Yeah.
I felt like there were so many eyeballs on me all the time that I didn't want to be seen.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine being thrust in the spotlight like that.
Yeah.
In a way that, I mean, in my opinion, was so unfair.
It's hard because on top of it, I came out here because my mom got a terminal diagnosis. And so I came out to take care of her. And she died maybe 5 weeks before all of that happened. So on top of the complications of having this very, very public trial was just the tremendous grieving that my family was going through.
Reflecting on that case, what can that experience teach us about how we go forward and address these crimes, these actions?
I think in this country, victim blaming has to stop. Having gone through this with my son, and I think it's that much harder for a man to go through it because it's such an affront to his masculinity and his identity to have had this happen. But the victim blaming that went on with him was horrendous. I was not prepared for it. I mean, I had to leave Twitter. It just was so awful. And I think that, people who have the courage to come forward to address someone who's very powerful and their behaviors, those people should be lifted up. If we had 3 hours, I could talk to you more about the trickery that went on with my son in the court that day. It was appalling.
Is there like an illustrative point about that? I mean, I know it has layers to it, but in terms of the trickery, what do you mean referring to?
Do we have time for this? Do you really want to know? Because I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'd love to know.
I've never really talked about it before.
Yes, please.